The fireplace shouldn't be lit. It's July in Chicago, 90 degrees outside. But there's a fire roaring in my father's study. And my stepmother Vanessa is feeding papers into it. I stood in the doorway, frozen. My father's funeral was 3 days ago. 3 days. And she's already in here destroying things. What are you doing? My voice sounds far away, like it's coming from someone else. Vanessa doesn't turn around. She just keeps feeding papers into the flames. 1 page. 2 pages. 3. The edges curl and blacken. Ashes float up the chimney. My stepsisters Brooke and Tiffany stood on either side of the door, blocking me. Both of them have their phones out. Brooke is smiling. Vanessa. My voice is louder now. Harper. What are you burning? She finally looks at me. And her smile is the most honest thing I've ever seen on her face. Pure satisfaction. Just old paperwork, Madison. Your father kept everything. I'm cleaning up. I push past Brooke and rush toward the fireplace. Through the flames I see it. My father's signature. The distinctive way he signed his R with that architect's flourish. The letterhead from his attorney's office. My stomach drops. That's his will. I try to grab the poker, but Tiffany blocks me. That's Dad's will. Stop. But it's too late. The last page curls and burns. Everything turns to ash. Vanessa brushes soot off her hands and turns to me calmly. No, sweetie. That was old paperwork. This is your father's will. She pulls a document from the desk drawer. Crisp white paper. Official stamps. Multiple signatures. My hands shake as she hands it to me. I read the first page. Then the second. My vision blurs. Everything, the house, the architecture firm, the investments, all $8.4 million, goes to Vanessa, Brooke and Tiffany. To me, $10,000 and a sentence about gratitude for the years we shared. This is fake. But my voice cracks. Dad told me he was updating his will. He said he was leaving everything to me. He wanted to protect the firm. Protect it from what? Vanessa's voice is ice. From his wife of 12 years. From the daughters who actually cared about him. She steps closer. I smell her expensive perfume. The kind my dad bought her. Your father changed his mind before he died, Madison. He realized who his real family was. He pauses, lets it sink in. You were always just Richard's first mistake. Brooke's phone buzzes. Mom, your lawyer texted. Probate is filed. It's official. The room spins. My dad died 5 days ago. Sudden heart attack. I was in Seattle for a work conference. By the time I got home, Vanessa had already planned the funeral. Already cleared his office. Already burned the real will. You can't do this. But I sound weak. Defeated. Vanessa touches my shoulder like she's comforting me. It's already done, sweetheart. The will is filed. My attorney says it's completely legal and binding. She tilts her head. Your father left you something at least. $10,000 is more than a lot of daughters get. I look at Brooke and Tiffany. They won't meet my eyes now. They know. They helped. This wasn't an accident. This was planned. My name is Madison Pierce. I'm 32 years old. I'm a senior estate planning attorney at Klein & Associates in Chicago. I specialize in inheritance disputes and fraud cases. And I just watched my stepmother burn my father's real will and replace it with a forgery. He thinks she won. She has no idea what she just started. Because I've handled 17 will forgery cases in my career. I know every trick, every loophole, every mistake amateur criminals make. And I just watched her make at least 6 of them in the last 10 minutes. She destroyed evidence. She produced a suspiciously convenient new will right after my father's death. She's already acting like she owns everything before probate even closes. Vanessa just committed fraud against an expert in fraud law. This is going to be fun. 4 months before my father died, he called me to his architecture firm. Madison, I need to talk to you about something serious. We sat in his office. The one with the big windows overlooking downtown Chicago. The one with his awards on the walls. 40 years of architectural achievements. I'm updating my will, he said quietly. And I need your professional opinion. He slid a folder across his desk. Opened it. Everything to me. The firm. The house. The investment accounts. The life insurance. All of it. To Vanessa. The prenuptial agreement amount. $500,000 and the condo in Lake Forest. Dad, are you sure about this? His face got hard. The way it did when he'd made a decision and wouldn't be moved. Vanessa's spending is out of control. Last month she spent $38,000 on handbags. Handbags, Madison. She wants me to sell the firm to developers. Says I should enjoy retirement instead of working so hard. He looked out the window at the city he'd helped build. This firm is my life's work. It employs 68 people. Families, mortgages, college funds. I'm not selling it so Vanessa can buy another vacation house. He turned back to me. You understand what this firm means. You'll protect it. Dad, you should use a really good attorney for this. Someone Vanessa doesn't know. I'm using Frederick Walters. He's been my attorney for 30 years. Good. And Dad, make sure you keep the original in a safe place. Don't tell Vanessa about it. He smiled sadly. I know my wife better than you think, sweetheart. I know what she married me for. I wanted to believe love could grow. But it didn't. It's always been about the money. I reached across the desk and held his hand. I'll take care of the firm if anything happens. I promise. I know you will. You're the best thing I ever built, Maddie. Not these buildings. You. Now, sitting in my apartment the night after watching the will burn, I open my laptop. Pull up my work files. 15 years of estate planning cases. I know what a forged will looks like. I know the red flags. I know the timeline that makes sense versus the timeline that screams fraud. My father died on a Tuesday. Sudden heart attack at his office. He was 64 and healthy. No warning signs. Vanessa's new will is dated 12 days before his death. 12 days. That means in less than 2 weeks, my father supposedly changed his mind completely about his life's work, decided to leave everything to a woman he'd been planning to divorce. His accountant will confirm this. Cut out his only biological child, used a new attorney instead of Frederick Walters. And nobody noticed. No warning. No conversation. Doesn't make sense. Because it didn't happen. I open a new document on my computer and title it, Pierce Estate, Fraud Evidence. Then I start writing down everything I remember from today. The burning papers. The fireplace in July. Brooke and Tiffany blocking the door. The way Vanessa had the new will ready immediately. Every detail matters. My phone rings. It's Frederick Walters, my dad's longtime attorney. His voice is shaking. Madison, something terrible has happened. Someone broke into my office last night. They destroyed my filing cabinets. Stole documents. The police think it was random vandalism, but your father's will file is gone. Everything except the copies I kept at home. Madison, I think Vanessa knew about the real will. And I think she tried to destroy all the evidence. I show up to Sunday dinner at Vanessa's house like nothing's wrong. She looks surprised when she opens the door. Madison, I didn't think you'd come. Why wouldn't I? Keep my voice soft. You're still family. I watch her relax. She expected me to scream, to threaten, to lawyer up immediately. Instead, I brought wine and a store-bought pie. Brooke and Tiffany are already in the dining room. They look uncomfortable when they see me. Madison. Brooke's voice is too bright. How are you holding up? I'm okay. But okay. I sit down and accept the glass of wine Vanessa pours. I've been thinking about what you said. About Dad changing his mind. And maybe you're right. Maybe he wanted you to have everything. You made him happy these last 12 years. Vanessa's smile is genuine now. Relieved. I'm so glad you understand, sweetie. I was worried you'd be bitter. What would be the point? Take a sip of wine. The will is legal. Filed with the court. Fighting it would just cost money and cause drama. Dad wouldn't want that. I see Tiffany text someone under the table. Probably telling Vanessa's lawyer that I'm not going to fight. Perfect. Dinner continues. They talk about their plans. Brooke is getting married next summer. We're thinking the Drake Hotel. The ballroom package is expensive, but now that the estate... She trails off embarrassed. It's fine, I say gently. Dad would want you to have a beautiful wedding. Really? Brooke looks at me with actual gratitude. You're not mad. I'm sad I'm not getting the firm. I loved that place. But I understand business decisions. Vanessa reaches over and squeezes my hand. You're being so mature about this, Madison. Your father would be proud. I want to throw my wine in her face. But I smile instead. Can I ask one thing? I make my voice small. Vulnerable. Can I visit the firm one more time? Before you sell it? Just to say goodbye. Vanessa waves her hand generously. Of course. Actually, we're meeting with developers next week. You should come. See the plans. It's going to be luxury condos. Very upscale. My father's 40-year legacy. Turned into condos. That sounds amazing, I lie. After dinner, I help Vanessa clear the dishes. In the kitchen, she touches my arm. I know this is hard for you, Madison. Losing your father. Losing the inheritance you expected. But you're young. You have your career. You'll be fine. I know. I dry a plate. Can I ask you something? Just between us. Of course. Did Dad seem different before he died? Like, did he say anything about changing the will? I'm just trying to understand. Vanessa doesn't hesitate. He said he wanted to make sure Brooke and Tiffany were taken care of. That he'd spent so much time building the firm. He'd neglected being a real father to them. He wanted to make up for it. He's good. The lie sounds believable. Practice. That makes sense, I say softly. He always felt guilty about working so much. Vanessa hugs me. I'm glad we can get through this together. As a family. I hug her back. Over her shoulder, I can see my reflection in the window. My face is calm. Neutral. Inside I'm screaming. On my drive home, I call my boss Catherine and tell her I need to take a leave of absence for family matters. She knows my dad just died, so she doesn't ask questions. What she doesn't know is that I'm about to spend the next year building a fraud case against my own stepmother. Some things you can't do from inside a law office. Some things require total focus. I have 6 months of savings. That gives me 6 months to gather evidence before I need to go back to work. It'll be enough. Has to be. My father's accountant is named Marshall Blake. He's been doing Dad's taxes and financial planning for 26 years. I call him from a coffee shop. Marshall, this is Madison Pierce. Can we meet? I need to ask you about my dad's estate. His voice gets quiet. I was hoping you'd call. Let's meet. But not at my office. Somewhere private. We meet at a park. Marshall looks nervous. Vanessa's lawyer has been calling me, he says immediately. Demanding financial records. Being very aggressive about it. Did you give them to him? I gave him what I legally had to. But Madison, something is very wrong. He pulls out a folder. Your father came to see me 8 weeks before he died. He told me he was finalizing his will with Frederick Walters. Everything to you. He wanted my advice on the tax implications. My heart pounds. Do you have proof? Emails. Time-stamped. Your father asked me to create a projection of what the estate taxes would be if you inherited everything. I have the whole analysis saved. He shows me his laptop. There it is. Black and white. Proof that 8 weeks before he died, my father was planning to leave me everything. The will Vanessa filed is dated 12 days before Dad died, I say. That means in less than 8 weeks, he supposedly changed his entire estate plan. Did he come back to you? Ask you to redo any projections? Never. And he would have. Your father didn't make financial moves without consulting me first. Marshall, would you be willing to testify to this? In court. His hands shake slightly. If it comes to that, yes. But Madison, I need to be careful. I still have a business. If Vanessa's lawyer accuses me of bias. I understand. Just keep those records safe. Make copies. Store them somewhere she can't reach. Already done. He hands me a USB drive. Encrypted. Everything's on here. Your father trusted me to help protect his legacy. I'm not letting Vanessa destroy it. After Marshall leaves, I sit in my car and plug in the USB drive. Hours of documentation. Financial records showing Vanessa's excessive spending. Emails about the real will. Evidence of Dad's careful planning. And then I find something else. A note from my dad to Marshall dated 3 weeks before he died. If anything happens to me unexpectedly, make sure Madison gets all the estate documentation. She'll know what to do. Vanessa can't be trusted with my legacy. Protect it for my daughter. He knew. Somehow, my father knew Vanessa was dangerous. I forward everything to my personal email. Triple encrypted. Backed up to the cloud. Then I do something risky. I call Frederick Walters and ask him to meet me the next day. He says, "I've been waiting for your call, Madison. I need to tell you something about your father's death. Something that didn't sit right with me. We need to talk. In person. Somewhere Vanessa won't know about." Frederick Walters is 71 years old. Sharp eyes. 3-piece suit even on a Saturday. We meet at his house in Evanston. He pours us both coffees. "Your father and I worked together for 30 years, he begins. "I handled his divorce from your mother. His business contracts. Everything. He trusted me completely. I know. Dad talked about you all the time." Frederick's face darkens. 3 weeks before he died, Richard came to my office. We finalized his will. Everything to you, as I'm sure you know by now. He was very specific. Very clear. And he said something that bothered me. What did he say? He said, "Frederick, if something happens to me in the next few months, make sure Madison gets everything. Don't let Vanessa near the estate. Promise me." Frederick meets my eyes. "Madison, your father was healthy. Active. There was no reason for him to think something would happen to him. Unless he suspected something." Exactly. Frederick pulls out his own folder. After the break-in at my office, I started thinking. The timing was too convenient. Your father dies suddenly. My office gets robbed. Vanessa produces a will I've never seen. So I did some digging. He shows me documents, medical records, police reports. Your father's death was ruled a heart attack. Natural causes. But Madison, he had a full physical 2 weeks before he died. Perfect health. No heart problems. No warning signs. The doctor was shocked when he heard Richard died. My blood runs cold. What are you saying? I'm saying the timeline doesn't make sense. Healthy man. Sudden death. Convenient will that appears right after. Evidence destruction. Frederick's voice drops. I'm not saying Vanessa killed him. But I am saying we should look closer. Can we request an autopsy review? Already did. Informally. Through a friend who's a medical examiner. He's reviewing the original autopsy report. Looking for anything unusual. This is bigger than I thought. Way bigger. Frederick, do you still have the original will? The one Dad signed? Yes. I keep duplicates of every important document at my home safe. Vanessa's people didn't know that. He pulls out a sealed envelope. This is a notarized copy of your father's real will. Witnessed. Legal. It supersedes anything Vanessa filed because it's dated more recently than her fake will claims. Her will is dated 12 days before Dad died. Yes. But Dad's real will with you is dated 3 weeks before he died. Exactly. Which means even if her will was real, mine would overwrite it. The most recent valid will is what counts. Frederick smiles grimly. Vanessa didn't think about that. She just picked a date that seemed plausible. She made a critical mistake. I feel hope for the first time in days. So we have proof. Clear legal proof. We do. But Madison, we need to be strategic. If we file too early, Vanessa's lawyers will fight back. We need overwhelming evidence. The real will. The financial records. The suspicious death. The break-in. Everything together in one ironclad case. How long will that take? Months. Maybe a year. Can you be patient? I think about my father. About his firm. About everything Vanessa is destroying. I can be patient, I say. As long as we win in the end. Frederick's phone rings. He answers, listens, then his face goes pale. Are you certain? He hangs up and looks at me. That was my medical examiner friend. He found something in your father's autopsy. Elevated levels of a compound that can mimic heart attack symptoms. It's not conclusive. But Madison. It's suspicious enough that he's recommending we open a full investigation. He's contacting the police tomorrow. Detective Angela Torres calls me 3 days later. Ms. Pierce, I'm investigating some irregularities surrounding your father's death. Can we talk? We meet at a diner. She's maybe 45. Smart eyes. No-nonsense demeanor. The medical examiner raised concerns about your father's toxicology, she says bluntly. There were elevated levels of a substance called digitalis in his system. It's a heart medication. Did your father have a prescription for digitalis? No. He wasn't on any heart medication. He was healthy. That's what his doctor said. Detective Torres pulls out a notepad. Digitalis in high doses can cause heart failure that looks natural. But it's almost impossible to prove without looking for it specifically. The original autopsy didn't test for it because there was no reason to suspect poisoning. Poisoning. The word hangs in the air. Are you saying someone killed my father? I'm saying it's a possibility we're investigating. Tell me about your stepmother. I tell her everything. The will burning. The forgery. The break-in at Frederick's office. The suspicious timing. Detective Torres writes it all down. Has your stepmother shown any signs of guilt? Nervousness? No. She's been spending the estate money. Planning her daughter's futures. Acting like everything's normal. That's consistent with someone who thinks they got away with it. Torres looks up. Ms. Pierce, I need you to understand something. Proving murder is very difficult. Especially when the death was initially ruled natural. We'd need strong evidence. And right now, all we have is suspicion and elevated digitalis levels that could have other explanations. What if I could get you more evidence? What kind of evidence? What if I could get Vanessa to admit what she did? On tape. Detective Torres leans back. That would be very helpful. But also very dangerous. If your stepmother did kill your father, she's not someone you should be confronting alone. I won't confront her. I'll just stay close. Keep recording our conversations. See if she slips up. Torres considers this. If you do that, be extremely careful. Don't put yourself in danger. And Madison, don't tell anyone else about this investigation. Not even family. We don't know who might warn Vanessa. I promise to be careful. But inside I'm already planning. Vanessa thinks she's safe. She thinks the hard part is over. She's wrong. The hard part is just beginning. That night I bought a small recording device. The kind that looks like a pen. Then I text Vanessa. Would you want to have lunch this week? Just the two of us. I'd love to hear more about Dad's last days. It would help me process everything. She responds immediately. Of course, sweetheart. Love that. Let's do Tuesday. She's walking right into the trap. And she doesn't even know it. I met Vanessa at an upscale restaurant downtown. She's dressed expensively. New jewelry. Probably bought with estate money. Madison. She hugs me. You look tired. Are you sleeping? Not really. Keep thinking about Dad. About his last days. We sat down. I ordered wine even though it's lunch. Vanessa ordered champagne. I want to ask you something, I said carefully. And I hope you won't think I'm being morbid. Of course not, honey. What is it? What was Dad like in those last few weeks? Was he happy? Sad? I wish I'd been here more. Vanessa's face softens. She doesn't know I'm recording. The pen sits innocently next to my water glass. Your father was peaceful, she says. He'd accepted that the firm needed to be sold, that it was time to enjoy life. We'd even talked about traveling more. My father would never sell the firm willingly. Did he mention the will at all? Oh yes. He said he wanted to make sure everything was handled properly. That Brooke and Tiffany would be taken care of. Did he seem sick? Tired? Vanessa hesitates, just for a second. He seemed the same as always, maybe a little more tired. But nothing that concerned me. Where were you when he died? Her eyes narrow slightly. At my book club. Why? I'm just trying to picture it. Sorry. This must be hard for you too. She relaxes. It's okay. Understand. Losing a parent is difficult. The waiter comes with our food. While we eat, I keep asking gentle questions. Did Dad have coffee that morning? Yes. I made it for him like always. What did you talk about? Just normal things. His meetings for the day. What I was doing. And then what happened? He went to the office. Called me around noon saying he felt off. I told him to come home. But he said he had an important client meeting. By 2 p.m., his secretary called saying he'd collapsed. Every answer is smooth. Practiced. But there's something in her eyes when she talks about the morning coffee. You were such a good wife to him, I said. Making his coffee every day. Taking care of him. Well, that's what wives do. She smiles. I loved your father. I wanted to take care of him. I let the lunch continue. Keep the conversation light. By the end, Vanessa is relaxed again. I'm so glad we're close, Madison, she says as we're leaving. I was worried you'd resent me forever. Why would I resent you? You made Dad happy. She hugs me. You're such a sweet girl. Richard raised you right. I hug her back and think. You have no idea what's coming. That night I listened to the recording 3 times. Then I heard it. The slip. When I asked about the morning coffee, Vanessa said, I made it for him like always. But my father told me months ago that he'd started making his own coffee because Vanessa always made it too strong. He specifically said, I don't let Vanessa make my coffee anymore. It tastes wrong. So why was she making his coffee the morning he died? I sent the audio file to Detective Torres with a note. She's lying. My father didn't let her make his coffee. But she made it the morning he died. That's when the digitalis was administered. Detective Torres called me 2 weeks later. We executed a search warrant on your stepmother's house this morning. My heart pounds. Did you find anything? We found a bottle of digitalis pills. Hidden in her bathroom. They were prescribed to her mother 3 years ago. Her mother died of heart disease. Oh my God. We also found your stepmother's laptop. Our tech team is going through it now. Looking for evidence of the will forgery. Of her relationship with the lawyer who filed the fake will. Everything. What happens now? Now we wait for the lab results. We're testing your father's remaining tissue samples for concentrated digitalis. If we find proof of poisoning, we'll arrest Vanessa for murder. Murder. The word makes it real. How long until you know? 2 weeks. Maybe less. Torres pauses. Madison, you need to stay away from Vanessa right now. If she finds out about the investigation, she could run. Or worse, she could do something desperate. I understand. But the next day Vanessa calls me. She sounds panicked. The police searched my house. They took my computer. They said something about an investigation into Richard's death. Madison, what's happening? Play dumb. What? Why would they investigate Dad's death? I don't know. They won't tell me anything. She's crying now. Scared. You work in law. You must know people. Can you find out what's going on? I'll try, I lied. But Vanessa, if they're investigating, maybe you should get a lawyer. I didn't do anything wrong. Then you have nothing to worry about. She hangs up. Within an hour, she's hired a criminal defense attorney. Expensive one. Using estate money, of course. That's when I knew she's guilty. Innocent people don't hire criminal lawyers before they're even charged. Brooke calls me that night. Madison, what's happening? Mom is freaking out. She says the police think something happened to your dad. Do you know anything? I'm just as confused as you are, Brooke. This is crazy. Dad died of a heart attack. Natural causes. Why would anyone investigate? I don't know. Maybe it's just routine. But Brooke doesn't sound convinced. Mom keeps asking me and Tiffany about the will. About whether we remember anything suspicious. She seems really scared. But you should be scared. 3 days later, Detective Torres calls. Lab results are back. Your father had 3 times the lethal dose of digitalis in his system at the time of death. There's no way it was accidental. Madison, your father was murdered. We're arresting Vanessa tomorrow morning for first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit fraud. I wanted you to hear it from me first. I watched the news coverage from my apartment. Vanessa Pierce was arrested this morning on charges of first-degree murder and estate fraud. Prosecutors allege she poisoned her husband, wealthy architect Richard Pierce, and then forged his will to inherit his $8.4 million estate. The video shows Vanessa being led out of her house in handcuffs. She's crying, screaming. I didn't do anything. This is insane. Brooke and Tiffany stand in the driveway, looking shell-shocked. My phone exploded with messages. From Brooke. How could you do this to us? From Tiffany. You're destroying our family. I didn't respond. They chose their side when they helped burn the will. The news coverage continues. Richard Pierce's daughter, Madison Pierce, has been working with police for months to gather evidence against her stepmother. My face on TV. It was inevitable. Within hours, reporters were calling my phone. I ignored them all. Catherine, my boss, called. Madison, is this true? Your stepmother killed your father. It looks that way. My God. Are you okay? I will be. Once she's convicted. What about the estate? The will? That's phase 2. Once the murder trial is over, I'll contest the forged will. But first, she needs to pay for killing my dad. The preliminary hearing happens fast. Vanessa's lawyer argues for bail. The prosecutor argues she's a flight risk. The judge denies bail. The evidence of premeditated murder is substantial. The defendant will remain in custody pending trial. Vanessa breaks down in court. I loved Richard. I would never hurt him. Madison is lying. But the evidence doesn't lie. The digitalis, the forged will, the burned documents, the laptop emails showing her planning with her lawyer. It's all there, black and white. Brooke and Tiffany hired their own attorney. They claimed they knew nothing about the murder. Maybe that's true. Maybe Vanessa kept them in the dark about that part. But they knew about the will. They helped burn it. They're not innocent. 2 weeks later, I get a call from a blocked number. Answer. It's Vanessa calling from jail. Madison, please. We need to talk. I'll tell you everything. The truth about what happened. But I need you to help me. Please. Her voice is desperate. Broken. I let the silence stretch. Then I say, you watched me stand outside my own father's study while you burned his will. You smiled at me. You called me his first mistake. Why would I help you now? Because I didn't kill him. Madison, I swear. I didn't kill Richard. But I know who did. I met with Vanessa at the jail. She looks terrible. No makeup. Prison jumpsuit. Hair unwashed. Thank you for coming, she says through the glass. I didn't say anything. Just waited. I didn't kill Richard, she starts. But I did forge the will. I did burn the real one. I admit that. But the murder. Madison, that wasn't me. The digitalis was yours. From your mother's prescription. I know. But I didn't give it to Richard. She leans forward. My attorney did. Freeze. What? Thomas Morrison. The lawyer who helped me forge the will. He said he had a plan to make sure Richard died before he could change anything. Thought he was joking. I told him not to. But he did it anyway. Why would your lawyer kill my father? Because I promised him 20% of the estate if he helped me get it. But if Richard changed the will again, Thomas would get nothing. So he made sure Richard wouldn't be able to. My head spins. You're saying your lawyer killed my dad without your permission? Yes, swear. I wanted Richard's money. I wanted the will changed. But I didn't want him dead. Not really. She's crying now. Thomas came to the house the morning Richard died. Said he needed to drop off paperwork. He went into the kitchen while I was getting ready. He must have put something in Richard's coffee. You're lying. You're trying to save yourself. I have proof. She pulls out a piece of paper. A photocopy of text messages between her and Thomas Morrison. Vanessa, did you do something to Richard? Thomas, you wanted the will. I got you the will. Don't ask questions. Vanessa, oh my God. What did you do? Thomas. Nothing that can be traced back to either of us. Just stay calm. I stare at the messages. Why are you showing me this now? Because I'm not going down for murder. Thomas can go to prison for that. But the will fraud. I'll admit to it. Plead guilty. Take a shorter sentence. But I'm not dying in prison for something he did. You still destroyed my father's will. You still tried to steal everything. I know. And I'm sorry. I was greedy. Stupid. But Madison, I didn't kill him. Please, help me prove it. Thomas Morrison murdered your father. Make him pay. I took the photocopies. I'll give these to the police. But Vanessa, this doesn't make us even. You're still going to prison. Just maybe not for murder. I know. I deserve it. But please, make sure Richard's real killer pays. I take the evidence to Detective Torres. She reads it and her face hardens. Thomas Morrison, high-priced estate attorney. He's represented wealthy families for 30 years. If he's been killing clients to manipulate estates. She looks at me. Madison, this could be bigger than just your father. We need to investigate all suspicious death Morrison's clients have had. If he's done this before, there could be other victims. Other stolen estates. Detective Torres digs into Thomas Morrison's case history. What she finds is horrifying. 6 clients dead in the last 8 years. All within weeks of updating their wills. All sudden heart attacks or strokes. All with Morrison handling the estates afterward. This man is a serial killer, Torres says. Using his position to murder people for money. Your father was just his latest victim. Morrison was arrested within 24 hours. His office was raided. They found digitalis. They found forged documents. They found evidence of him manipulating estates for years. The news explodes. Prominent estate attorney arrested for serial murder. Families of the other victims came forward. They'd suspected something was wrong. But nobody investigated because the deaths looked natural. Until my father's case forced them to look closer. Morrison's trial happened first. He's charged with 6 murders. Including my father's. I attended every day of the trial. The evidence is overwhelming. Digital records of him researching poisons. Pharmacy records showing he bought ingredients to make digitalis concentrate. Security footage of him entering victims' homes days before they died. The jury convicts him on all counts. 6 life sentences. No possibility of parole. Justice for my father. And for 5 other people who trusted the wrong lawyer. Vanessa's trial comes next. She pleads guilty to estate fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. In exchange for testifying against Morrison, she gets 8 years instead of 20. Brooke and Tiffany get probation for destroying evidence. They have to repay the estate for everything they spent. And finally, it's time to deal with the will. Frederick Walters files my father's real will with the court. The one leaving everything to me. Vanessa's forged will is invalidated. Thrown out completely. After 18 months of fighting, the court finally rules. Everything goes to me. The firm. The house. The investments. All of it. I walk into Pierce and Associates Architecture for the first time as the actual owner. The building Vanessa almost sold. The legacy she almost destroyed. Employees stop and stare as I walk through. Some of them quit when Vanessa fired the old team. But Eleanor, my dad's longtime secretary, is still here. She smiles at me with tears in her eyes. "Welcome home, Ms. Pierce. Your father would be so proud." I look around at the building my dad loved. At the company he built from nothing. "Let's rebuild," I tell her. "Let's make it even better than before." The firm needs a lot of work. Vanessa's brief ownership did damage. She fired good employees. She cancelled important projects. She nearly destroyed Dad's reputation. But I'm an attorney. I know how to fix broken things. First, I rehire everyone Vanessa let go. Everyone who wanted to come back. Second, I call every client Vanessa scared off and apologize. Offer them discounted rates. Promise them quality work. Third, I change the name. Pierce Legacy Architecture. A reminder of what we're honoring. Within 6 months, we're profitable again. Within a year, we've won 3 major contracts. I hire a managing partner to run the day-to-day business. I'm still an attorney at heart. I don't want to be CEO. I just want to protect what Dad built. The Tyler Carter Mental Health Foundation. Wait, wrong name. I started the Richard Pierce Scholarship Fund for aspiring architects. Kids from low-income families who have talent but no money for school. I donated my father's house to a non-profit that helps homeless families. I don't want to live there. Too many bad memories. Instead, I bought a modest condo downtown. Close to the office. Close to my real life. Brooke sends me an email after her probation ends. "I'm sorry for everything. I was wrong. I hope someday you can forgive me." I didn't respond. Some relationships can't be fixed. Tiffany goes to therapy. Tries to rebuild her life. I hear she's working as a teacher now. Making an honest living. Good for her. But I don't reach out. Vanessa serves her 8 years. I don't visit her. Don't write. Don't think about her. She's irrelevant to my life now. The woman who tried to steal my father's legacy is just gone. Erased from my story. 5 years after my father's death, I'm sitting in my office when Eleanor brings me a package. This arrived from the courthouse. It's labeled Richard Pierce, Personal Effects. Open it carefully. Inside is a small box. A note from Frederick Walters. Found this in your father's safe deposit box. He left instructions for you to receive it after everything was settled. Open the box. Inside is a flash drive. And a handwritten note from my dad. For Madison when she wins. 'Cause I know she will. Love, Dad. I plugged the flash drive into my computer with shaking hands. One video file. Dated 3 weeks before my father died. Click play. My father's face fills the screen. He's sitting in his office. Looking healthy. Happy. "Hi, Maddie," he says. "If you're watching this, I'm gone. And if Frederick gave this to you, it means Vanessa tried something. Hope I'm wrong. I hope this video stays in the vault forever and you never see it. But if you are seeing it, I'm sorry." Tears stream down my face. "I knew Vanessa was dangerous," Dad continues. "I saw the way she looked at my money. The firm. She never loved me. She loved what I could give her. So I made plans. He updated my will. I told Frederick to protect you. I documented everything." He leans closer to the camera. "I don't know what she'll do when I'm gone. Maybe nothing. Maybe something terrible. But Maddie, if she does come after you, fight back. You're smart. You're strong. You're a lawyer, for God's sake." He smiles. "You know how to win. I want you to know something. You are the best thing I ever created. Not this firm. Not these buildings. Your kindness. Your integrity. Your strength. That's my real legacy. Pauses. Takes a breath. If Vanessa destroys the firm, let it go. She takes the money, let it go. Material things can be replaced. But don't let her make you bitter. Don't let her steal your goodness. That's the only thing I care about protecting. I love you, kiddo. I'm proud of you. I'm so damn proud. Win or lose, you're everything I could have hoped for in a daughter. The video ends. I sit in silence for a long time. Just crying. Missing my dad. Wishing he was here. But then I look around my office. At Pierce Legacy Architecture. The company I saved. At the scholarship fund helping kids like Dad helped me. I didn't just win. I honored him. I wipe my tears and open my email. There's a message from a journalist at Forbes. Ms. Pierce, we're doing a feature on women who overcame adversity in business. Your story about saving your father's firm and bringing his killers to justice is incredibly inspiring. Would you be willing to be interviewed? I think about my dad. About what he'd want. Then I reply. Yes. But only if we can talk about the importance of protecting family businesses and recognizing elder financial abuse. My story isn't about me. It's about making sure this doesn't happen to other families. The Forbes article publishes 3 months later. How Madison Pierce saved her father's legacy after her stepmother tried to steal everything. Goes viral immediately. Millions of views. Shares on every social media platform. People are outraged on my behalf. Supportive. Inspired. I get thousands of messages from people with similar stories. Families torn apart by greed. Estates stolen. Loved ones betrayed. So I did something I never planned to do. I started offering free legal consultations to people fighting estate fraud. One Saturday a month, I dedicate my time to helping families who can't afford attorneys. Reviewing their documents. Advising them on next steps. Connecting them with resources. It becomes the most meaningful part of my month. One woman writes to me. My mother-in-law stole my husband's inheritance and kicked our kids out of the family. Your story gave me hope that we could fight back. We hired a lawyer. We're building our case. Thank you for showing us it's possible to win. Another. My sister forged my dad's will. I thought I was crazy for suspecting it. But your article helped me understand the red flags. I'm pursuing legal action now. You saved our family legacy. The firm continues to grow. We're designing buildings across the Midwest now. Winning awards. Making Dad proud. I gave a TED Talk about estate fraud. About protecting yourself. About recognizing warning signs. Got 5 million views. I wrote a short book. Protecting Your Legacy. A Guide to Estate Planning and Fraud Prevention. All proceeds go to legal aid organizations. My life becomes about helping others avoid what happened to me. And somewhere in all of this I found peace. Not happiness exactly. I still miss my dad every day. Still grieve what Vanessa stole from us. Peace. Knowing I did right by him. Knowing his legacy lives on. On the 5th anniversary of my father's death, I'm invited to speak at the American Bar Association's conference on estate law. As I'm preparing my speech, I get an email from an address I don't recognize. Subject line. You don't know me, but your father saved my life. Open it. My name is James Chen. 20 years ago, I was a homeless teenager. Your father found me sleeping in the doorway of his firm. Instead of calling the police, he gave me a job. Paid for my GED. Helped me get into college. I'm an architect now because of Richard Pierce. I just read your story and I had to reach out. Your father was a hero. And so are you. Thank you for protecting his memory. The speaking engagement at the ABA conference is packed. Standing room only. Tell my story. All of it. The will burning. The forgery. The murder. The 18-month fight to get justice. When I finish, the room is silent for a moment. Then, standing ovation. People are crying. Attorneys who've seen everything are moved by my father's story. Afterward, dozens of people approach me with questions. With their own stories. with requests for help. I give them my contact information. Promise to do what I can. That night, I'm back in my hotel room when my phone rings. Unknown number. Answer. Madison Pierce. A woman's voice. Shaky. Nervous. Yes. My name is Diana Martinez. I'm a prosecutor in Texas. I just watched your speech online. And I think I have one of Thomas Morrison's victims in my jurisdiction. Man. Named William Hart. Died suddenly 2 years ago. His wife got everything even though he'd told his kids he was leaving it all to them. I never investigated because it looked natural. But after hearing about Morrison's pattern, my heart races. Did Morrison handle the estate? Yes. He was the attorney of record. Madison, what if there are more victims we don't know about? What if Morrison worked with other lawyers? What if this is bigger than just his 6 convictions? I sit up straight. We need to investigate every case he touched. Every death. Every will. All of it. Will you help me? I don't know estate law like you do. I think about my father. About the other 5 people Morrison killed. About all the possible victims we haven't found yet. Yes, I say. I'll help. Let's find them all. Over the next year, Diana and I worked together. We investigated 43 suspicious deaths connected to Morrison or his associates. We found 12 more murders. 12 more families who lost loved ones to greed. We helped prosecutors bring charges. We help families contest forged wills. We help restore stolen legacies. It became my life's work. Pierce legacy architecture continues to thrive. But my passion is this: protecting families. Exposing fraud. Getting justice. 7 years after my father's death, I'm recognized as one of the country's leading experts on estate fraud. I've helped over 200 families fight back against theft and corruption. I've trained lawyers, educated judges, changed laws. My father's murder didn't just destroy our family. Started a movement. And every time I help someone win their case, I think about Dad. About his video message. About his pride in me. Kept my promise. I protected his legacy. Not just the firm. Not just the money. His real legacy: kindness, justice, fighting for what's right.